Now, what is the level of fear and anxiety on the ground? Because I was surprised to see that there's so many voices for people to just start to reopen the economy or reopen, from the restrictions, businesses, etc., public gatherings. So there's this call to do that. Do you see that same call in New York? Or maybe that's more relegated to other parts of the country, or maybe it's being blown out of proportion for, politically for certain reasons. What do you see? Is there still that fear and anxiety, or is there now an itchingness to get, things back to normal where you're located?
So where I'm at, it's a little bit harder to gauge when you're not going outside, right?
Yeah.
So, but I think the people here, they kind of realize a lot of people know somebody that maybe had coronavirus or was infected by it. It's very obvious. There's images on the news and stuff of these freezer trucks out with bodies. The morgues are overfilled. There's an island here for unclean bodies that people go in to they're buried there. So I think people know. The population here, particularly in this area in New York, realizes the impact of it, and there hasn't been any of these. This is the epicenter, and it's part of the reason it's the epicenter is so congested. Everybody lives on top of each other. There's so much use of public transportation, and the amount the ability for it to spread is so much greater that I think nobody here is itching to do things. I think it's in more in the rural communities. And the truth is, having trained in Louisiana and having lived in rural America, I mean, I can understand that, right? Houses are farther apart. There's a lot of space. People there's little to no use of public transportation in some places. So they're thinking, what's my risk? Why can't I go and continue to work? And the way they're going about it is not very good by essentially going and meeting in a public place and going and spreading the virus essentially among themselves. Mm-hmm. But you can understand where some people are coming from. I mean, in some communities, they could realistically probably reopen using PPE themselves as a community or as people and prevent transmission. The only problem being, I feel like, is that there's no uniform response here ever. You can just tell already the politicians aren't on the same page with each other, hardly gonna be able to coordinate something like this. So I think that's you can you see where they're coming from. They want to be able to work so it's tough. But realistically, social distancing, that's what we need to do for a while.
Do I feel that the New York police are providing enough protection, or do I have to have protection of my own? I look for protection from Allah.